Oh, St. Patrick's Day. Sam, good to see you.
St. Patrick's Day, man.
St. Patrick's Day.
Today's Leroy's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No wonder the Irish drink so much. Leroy's birthday,
Leroy's birthday, yeah, that's what caused it all.
Was St. Patrick's Day a thing when you were a kid for your family, or
No.
San Patricio? Dia de San Patricio is not a big day
not
in
really, no.
the Mexican community, right?
No.
I remember Ruth when she heard my son Patrick's name for the first time. She's going Patricio, like
Never
what
heard
kind
that.
of name is that? Yeah, that just blew her away. But anyway, so is it a thing now? No, still not, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
I guess as an adult that you partake in it maybe, but
Yeah.
not really a thing.
Well, you got your green on. I checked. I was going to pinch you, and I saw
All
the
year
palm.
long.
You didn't even. Yeah, I know, really. All year long. Tyler Tanaka's out in the audience. Dan Lightfoot. A whole bunch of great people. Tyler, are you doing a tackle tip thing tonight?
Sure.
Yes,
ready. He's
absolutely.
queued up.
Yeah, we'll slide you in here. We'll get you in here before long. And well, what else, man? I mean, the PCS show's in the rear view mirror now,
Yeah.
but just going back and thinking about it, I think, Anthony, we shot like 250 photos of just people walking around. It was great. Really, really nice, man. It was good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a great show overall. I mean, obviously everyone knows it was very, very, very well attended. The weather kind of like gave them a break. It seems like if it was a week later, it would have been a little tougher, but it worked out. I mean, and that's just the way weather is in fishing. But all positive. Everybody who went there and has come back, had a great time. And surprisingly enough, too, is, we kind of threw out a little like just kind of at the end of the show last week was like, hey, you know what? For you guys that didn't make it to the show, or maybe you went down there and ran out of money or whatever.
Oh, right.
Come on down, and wherever we can, we'll extend the show discounts. And we've had quite a few guys come down and take advantage of that too.
Great.
So that's been pretty good. The other thing too, I was just commenting to you just a little bit ago, was the amount of people that have bought slow pitch gear for rock fishing. So I feel like, not that you're going to go down to the boat and see majority slow pitch gear, but definitely I think you'll see a lot more this year than you ever have. And so that's kind of cool and interesting as well. So we'll see what our opening will bring us. It's going to be we don't get into the deep water stuff, right away. So some of the advantages that slow pitch stuff brings you may not see as much as you do later in the year. But I think guys are going to try it, and they're going to like it.
Yeah.
And they're going to buy another rod, and they're going to really kind of make it part of their arsenal, and maybe even make rock fishing something that is a bigger part of their year as well. So I'm kind of excited to see what the response is going to be once the season opens up.
Some of these guys, Travis Bright, he's probably watching now. Bob Gifford, they've just started goofing off with it. Now they won't do anything else.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to do. We have that trip on the
Freedom,
on
the El Dorado.
On the El Dorado on the
Yeah.
12th. And so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, for myself, for my own gear, that's all I'm taking is
That's
slow pitch
it?
gear. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of it too is that, once again, the rock fishing isn't the most testing of species, as far as hooking them.
Yeah.
But I will say that if you don't go down there with that intention of only using that kind of gear, you're going to just kind of go to the other thing that you're kind of more comfortable with.
Yeah.
And you may not do it as much as you would otherwise. So I'm going to probably go down there with 2 rigs, kind of a lighter one and a heavier one, and just experiment with them. I have done it before. It isn't like I've never done it. But, I just haven't done it that much.
Yeah.
And so I just want to try different things and just different things that I heard around the show and ideas and stuff like that, and want to kind of really put to practice.
Gonna be good.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Already getting a big crowd here. Tyler Tanaka is going to have some of his excellent tackle tips, which he does a fantastic job. With him and Sam, you got a great show. I'm just here for comic relief. I've got a big announcement, several big announcements.
Okay.
Number one, this isn't that big, but next Sunday is our surf fishing day.
That's right.
We're looking forward to a big day.
right.
We did the Grunion hunting the other night
Yeah.
with Dan and the kids, those maniacs running all over the place, and that was a lot of fun. Some guy had 5 big corvina down there.
Really?
Yeah, right.
At night?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was really cool. Big announcement number 2
So that's
is
this weekend coming up.
what's that? Oh, yeah, it's Sunday, March 23rd.
Yeah, coming right up, guys.
Yes, March 23rd.
Yeah.
Philip says he's going to show up with Bowden for a little while. He's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
6 months old, 7 months old. So that'll be fun. And
Weather looks great.
The weather looks good, man.
Yeah.
I'm on a whole new schedule,
It is
man. Last
shining
year,
upon you.
we had good weather.
Yeah,
This year,
yeah.
good weather. Next Monday night, besides that huge raffle, Chuck's got a huge raffle. He's doing, you know what he's doing? The CalStar jig stick that
That's
he...
right. That's
What
a
is
good
it?
one.
Go ahead, tell everybody.
Well,
I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead, Sam.
My thunder. Oops, sorry about that. No, so what he's wrapping up is a blank that he bought at the show. It's the CalStar 95J, which was by far the most popular blank that we sold at the show. We sold out completely.
Yeah.
But we sold out quick. It was almost as, well, probably I would say more popular than the Makairas because we sold them out faster. Although we sold a lot more Makairas because we had a lot more. But definitely the most popular blank, and it was the most kind of asked about blank at the show, even after we sold out. So even down to the last day, people were asking about them. People have come into the, after the show and say, hey, maybe you didn't take one with you. Do you have one? And so he went down there the first day, and just like we told him, you got to be there the first day. They're going to sell out. He went down and he bought one. So
good for him.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do as far as his thread work on it. He's been getting so good. It seems like every rod he builds is like better and better and better. So
Did you hear that Darren Dohey had like a contest and Chuck him in third?
Really?
Out of 12 rod builders.
It's a kids division or something, right?
Z Custom Rods. Oh man.
No, I heard it was a really, really nice rod. Yeah. So he's
The kids division.
and there was only 2 people there, right?
Yeah. 12 people, but 10 of them didn't show up. Yeah. And then a dead guy and Chuck. And Chuck came in second.
No, I'm really excited. I mean, after the stuff that he do, like rods in between the last time. That
He has, man. He's on a roll right
he's going to bring. So, and your son's rod too. He's going to get that going, and so he's all around just good dude. And I can't wait to see what he's going to. I wonder if he's going to do some of those colored guides.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we still running on your phone?
Yeah, it says something about minus.
Oh, okay.
Minus. Phil, what does that mean? No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
No, it's still running here. I don't know.
Yeah, he's doing the rod that Philip bought from you.
Yes.
So Philip's excited about that. It should be really, really cool.
He's going to raffle that one off too?
He's going to, no, I don't know. Philip will kill him. So we got that going on. But the big news is, I don't know if we're going to have a potluck here or how you want to do it, but I know somebody who's coming here with 40 chicken wings.
What?
Fresh salsa, chips.
Who? Somebody. Oh, no.
He is coming to make his first time appearance.
Where's he getting the chicken wings from?
He's going. I told him.
Yeah.
I go, you got to get them next door. And he goes, no, I'm getting them from Bye Bye. I go, Sam likes them next door.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. And then so now he's in. He's gone next door. Scott Buchert. Look at that. It's going to be the real guy this time. That thing looks real almost. It's weird looking. And Scott Buchert will be here. Anybody who wants to attend, shoot, just send me a text and we'll make it happen. We'll do a potluck.
You should have him do like some tackle tips. He's on the water.
I'm going to try to get him on the show. I told him I would reduce his gambling debt in half if he went on the show. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not here now.
Really. So that'll be fun. Next week is going to be a great week. If you want to get in on that raffle a little bit early, just send me a text, 657-227-6459, because we got a feeling that's going to be big. But you could get that. What's that rod worth?
The one
Custom wrapped.
The 95J?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what he's going to put on there, because if he puts the colored guides that he does, those are titanium to start.
Yeah.
So that would change the price by $100 just on the guides alone.
Yeah.
But
I think he is.
Yeah, and so depending on what he puts on there.
He's putting the Friedman Adventure logo on, so that bumps it up by $250.
Irregardless.
It'll still maintain a high price, even though he's ruining it with the Friedman Adventures logo.
Yeah. Well, I know he's going to get $5 less, because I'm not going to bid on it anymore. But,
where's Chuck at, man? He should be. He's
wrapping the rod right now.
Yeah, really. He's busy.
He's trying to figure out how to scrape off this one little part there. Yeah.
He's going to be there Sunday morning for the event.
But I would say $500-$600, and if he's got those guides on there, maybe even more.
Yeah. So that is my birthday on March the 23rd, and Chuck said, you're going in the water, right? So I don't know. Have your video cameras ready.
Is that a problem?
What's that?
Got a lot of people getting ready to
throw me in the water? No, I'd rather just go jump in so they don't break my arm, throw me in or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's a good idea.
All right, you want me to read a couple comments?
Yeah, hurry
I
up,
mean,
man.
Tyler's out there chomping at the bit. He's ready to go. We got Dan Lightfoot. We got Anthony. We got Mackie in the house.
He's in the
You
house.
don't care, huh?
I'm reading it. I just realized I have to leave early today.
Why? What time?
7.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, it's a quick show tonight, everybody, so stay tuned.
Well, I don't have to leave. I can be over there in the office. I have
Yeah.
a CCA meeting,
Oh.
board meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Much more important than this
Well,
shenanigans
what we'll do,
here.
here's, with Tyler, yeah, really. With Tyler's permission, we'll go to 7.
Yeah.
And then Tyler can come on
that cool?
and do his tackle stuff.
That'll work out.
And then, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so don't go anywhere. Just because we lose Sam, you can still be
You'll
here.
gain a Tyler.
Robert Slaggers is happy to be here with us, Salty Rod 365, who's with us and constantly supporting Friedman Adventures. Good afternoon. Phil and Sam and the Friedman Adventures family. Tyler Tanaka, who's sitting right in front of us. So good to see him in from Tennessee. Good evening and happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. Absolutely. Evening, gent, says Pokey Dad Fishes. I think you sent me a message. I'll look at that later this evening, my friend. Tony Gonzalez says, good afternoon, guys. Sam, since you talked about slow pitch setup for rockfish, what would be a good combo to buy? Tony, what a great segue. Sam, take it away.
Tony, that's kind of the main thing that I was kind of getting at. You know, I'm going to take a lighter rod and a heavier setup and kind of really look at maybe, you know, which way to go. I think right now I'm kind of leaning more towards a lighter rod. And sometimes lighter doesn't always mean your jig weight or line weight, but maybe just the style of rod. You know, within these slow pitch rods, you'll have like a range that goes from like a totally parabolic, lightweight slow pitch rod that is kind of more your traditional style, all the way up to like a heavy duty speed jigging rod. And in the middle, what's kind of been created is more of a kind of a hybrid style rod, something like your, let's say in the, what most people would have access to, like a Phoenix long fall 710 heavy, whereas it is definitely of the smaller diameter, smaller parts, smaller guides, but it has way more backbone than, let's say, a 63 medium light or something like that. Same lineup of rods, but that 710 heavy is really kind of more leaning towards your hybrid. And the reason is we're going to call it a hybrid for our Southern California fishing is that it's going to be something that you could fish rockfish with, no problem, but it would also catch like a big yellowtail.
Yeah.
In fact, Tyler got his big yellowtail on a rod just like that. That's
Medium light.
not even the heavier ones, you know. So there's like 3 steps above heavier than the one that he caught his fish on, and his fish was 40 pounds.
Oh, shoot.
So
was that Cedros?
That the Cedros
Yeah.
fish, yeah. And so to me, I feel like, you know, you're getting into a heavier rod, which what that's going to do also is it's going to put you put a rod in your hands that's probably going to feel more familiar to like a yo-yo rod, something that you're just used to feeling the stiffness of the rod and maybe won't quote unquote scare you to hook a big fish.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the heavier end that I'm going to be taking, would be something like that. But on the lower end would be more like a light or medium light kind of rod.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm going to take. So as far as for what you're looking for, you know, to use the Phoenix rods as kind of a measuring stick, only because that's probably what's going to be most available in most shops in Southern California. Something along the lines of something lighter than a medium heavy. So a medium heavy and a heavy are going to be the heavier ones in this conversation, and then anything lighter is going to be the lighter ones. And I would probably say for the rockfish, you're going to be going to the lighter ones. They even make an ultralight, which might be a little bit light for some of the jigs you're going to be using. But I would think a medium light would be almost perfect for most jigs that we're going to be using locally. But the other part of it too, that's actually the bigger part of the equation, is using lightweight or thin braid. You know, versus normally we would think about using like 50-pound braid for rock fishing. With this kind of setup, you'll be using like 20-pound braid.
Oh, okay.
So really thin stuff. That's going to make a big difference as to the size of lure you can use, because it's going to cut through the water. And because you can use a smaller lure, you can use basically a lighter rod. And so something in that 200 to 250 gram would be kind of almost the biggest size you would need. A 150 size, or even maybe a full size Colt Sniper in that like 120 to 140 gram size would be optimal. But you can go as big as like a 200 if there's a lot of current. As far as the reel, anything that's going to be in the smaller, almost the smallest reel you can get in a conventional style reel. So you can go with like that Fathom 8. That's probably the smallest one. I use a Trinidad 12 But there's a whole bunch of reels that are going to be in the smaller or smallest diameter profile, but you can even go narrow. I wouldn't say you have to go out and buy a narrow reel, even though, we all want to buy stuff and have a reason to buy a new toy. Whatever your smallest reel is, even if it's a Torre 14, that would be fine too. But that is not as important as the line you're going to put on it. You got to put that light braid, and 20-pound braid is what I would recommend.
All right, good stuff, Tony. Great question, Sam. A great answer indeed. Hey, Blacktail Hooks, I want to thank them. They are sponsoring our Surf Fishing Day. You know Sky.
I do know
I
Sky.
saw him today.
Yeah.
And you know what I said?
What do you say?
Where the hell is Izzy? I don't want to see you. So anyway, Sky, everybody who comes to the surf fishing event will get that little packet of hooks. So we are so happy to have them with us on that. We have several other sponsors. There's a great raffle that morning. And as the sponsors reveal themselves, got a couple of great Daiwa backpacks that Sky also provided for this event. Big Fish Bait and Tackle's doing a lot. Ton of stuff going on this Sunday. You're going to love it. Hector says, good evening, my friends. Hector, it's so good to have you here. David Alcantar. David says, happy early birthday, Phil. David, I really, really appreciate it. Daniel Sansi says 5-day. And our 5-day trip is going April 21st through the 26th. That trip, Sam said it looks really good. Talked to Brian Piper. He likes it. It's looking good. Go to www.independentsportfishing.com and you get more information on that trip. Chris Navarro says, good evening, Grandpa Phil and Sam. I am Chris. Always great to see you, my friend. And he wants some information on the El Dorado trip. Is there room on it? He's absolutely in.
Yeah, as far as I saw this morning, there was still, I think, 18 spots or 16 spots or something like that on it. It's going to be leaving Saturday night, April 12th, fishing on the 13th. So it's a weekend trip. Leave Saturday night, fishes Sunday on the El Dorado out of Long Beach Sportfishing. And it's going to be most likely targeting rockfish.
All right,
Are
very.
they going to get out?
Are they going to get out? Yes, they're going to get out.
Because there's a lot of oil shit.
Yeah, that's all going to be cleaned up by then. There is something in the harbor there that's kind of keeping them tied up at the moment.
But they're going to be good?
But from what I understand, that's about 2 weeks away, and we're about 4 weeks away.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're good.
That sounds good. That should be a great trip. I think you've noticed that we've had the El Dorado boys on Danny's show, not today, but the last couple of weeks. It was good having those guys come down, TJ and Will. Good to have you on. Hope to do that again really soon. Mike Krinkovich, the Cranker. So, Cranker, before I read your comment, this man just berated me a moment ago. He said, tell Mike he has got to be at Tackle Shop Confessions next Monday. I really want my fan base to turn out. So, Mike, you're the biggest Scott guy out there. A testament to the fact that you are actually mentally ill. And we would love to see you here Monday night. All right, checking in. Heidi ho. Heidi ho. How's it, brah? Scott in the raw. Oh, boy, he's hitting the booze early tonight. Next week. Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Gray whales. Miss you, Sam.
You got it, man.
Yes. He misses the gray whales or misses you? All right.
Whales.
Chuck Zimmer's ears were burning. Here he is. Next raffle here on Tackle Shop Confessions with Scott Buchert in the house and Tyler Tanaka chiming in from Tennessee. He'll be back in Tennessee. All right. Yes. Is the 95J, 90J, is that two different rods?
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A 20-pound 9-foot. Both Tatty books from Scott Mason.
Yep.
It's the 9-foot show.
Man,
Sam, you have to opine on that. There's a couple $1,000 worth of stuff there, isn't there?
The Jig Stick Special. Yeah, this is going to be a cool show.
Yeah. Man.
Those 3 rods right there, that's a couple grand. I mean,
yes.
with the books, pretty awesome.
Woo! Tackle Shop Confessions. Next Monday, send me a text if you want info on how you can pre-buy raffle tickets. 657-227-6459. Chuck, Dan says he loves you, and so does everybody else. Chris Navarro says, hit that like button, and Sam and I concur. That would be really, really nice of you. In the boat fishing, those bluefins still out at 70 miles. I know there were 5 big schools. I don't know, man. I mean, I haven't heard anything more on that. I assume They're not going anywhere. I'm assuming
Well,
they're
there's
hanging
been
out.
a little bit of weather too.
Yeah, that's true.
It isn't like they've got great coverage.
That's true. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, they might fly a plane here pretty soon, but
I would
it's almost
imagine.
like why fly a plane when the weather's no one's going to go.
Yeah, no one can go.
Yeah. So I think everybody's just waiting for this weather to calm down. It kind of blew up here. It's supposed to go back to pretty good weather again here now. And the weekend looks really good for
Yeah.
those of you thinking about a weekend trip this weekend. But I would assume those things are still there, but we're guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that 300-mile fish is still there.
Well, they're not going back south at the
No.
moment. No. So sometimes they'll kind of put the brakes on a little bit and maybe won't keep marching up full speed. But there's no question that come this weekend, a guy sees something even closer or runs across something even closer is totally possible, or start even maybe looking out further west. You start running into some fish there. But I would imagine that at 70 miles, you start getting into that kind of range where all of our local banks start becoming somewhat available, 60-mile bank, the 43, and things like that. So,
Right.
Pretty soon here, I think they're going to start seeing some fish in lots of places.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. It's looking good. James Blanchard, who will be there on March the 23rd, he says, hi, Phil, Sam. Happy birthday, Phil. James, that means the world to me. Thank you so very much, David. Do you need me at 5:30 on Sunday? Yes, David, we need you at 5:30 on Sunday. Paul D. Guadio. Paul, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Sam and Phil, how are you guys doing? We're doing great, Paul. Thank you for asking. When is this weather going to lay down so we can get out there and rip some lips? I like that, Paul. It's going to lay down for the weekend for sure, it sounds like.
It looks like even like for the foreseeable future, even the following week, at least right now, you look out 10 days, it's kind of, so it doesn't always stay that way. But for the moment being, it looks like there's going to be a nice high pressure coming in, over our Southern California bight, and it looks like it's going to be strong. So we should be looking at it was like that too, like a week ago. It looked like it was like summer all of a sudden.
It did.
And then it went right back. So it looks like we're going to have another spell of that really, really nice hot weather.
I got to tell you, Sam, it was like that this morning. Actually, it was like that when we got to 22nd Street. We got there about 12 noon, and then Danny showed up. It was like a black cloud followed him in, man. It started getting windy and cold and rainy.
That was that Jersey.
But you're right. I mean, I'm of course looking at that March 23rd date, praying for that looks good. And then the day after, and the day just looks like beautiful weather. Going to be gorgeous. Good stuff. G. Camacho Trece says Tesoro 5.
Tesoro 5,
Yeah. So you agree with that?
That's a nice reel, yeah. I'm not sure if he's asking if we have one or if he's going to be using it, but if that's a reel that you're going to be using for that slow pitch, I think you're perfect.
Chris Navarro says Talica 8.
2-speed, yep.
2-speed.
That'll also be good there, Chris. I think you'll be doing just fine with that. But most likely, I would imagine you probably have some more like a live bait size line on there, some heavier stuff. If you need to, take that line off, put it on a spool, save it for the summer. But for your rock fishing stuff, you want to make sure you put some lighter braid on that thing.
Roger Massage, happy thanks.
Roger.
I was going to say happy Thanksgiving. What is it? St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Something like that. Roger Massage. Hi, Phil and Sam. Is freezing the grunion good bait while you're on a charter boat doing dropper loop, and what fish eats that bait? While doing that, you damn right it's good, and everything.
Technically,
eats
you
them.
can't use them for bait.
Is that true?
Yes, it's a game fish, yeah.
The grunion is a game fish?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
You know what? My son asked me that the other day, and I go, I think it's okay, but I had like
For
a
some
thing
reason, I
like
think
maybe
it
it's
is.
not.
Yeah. Now,
Somebody Google that.
that
or
might have
Tyler.
changed. That might have changed. I don't know, but for some reason, I think that was.
So all the advice I've been giving about use that, just pick one of those up, pin it on, and throw it out there.
It probably would work.
They're going to arrest me tonight?
I don't know about the arrest.
It does work, I can tell you that.
Yeah. But I've heard.
Of course, I've never done it before. But
No, I've never done it before.
I'm guessing
I
it
saw
works.
it in a book one time.
Yeah.
I would think everything eats a grunion.
They do.
It's like an anchovy or sardine. I think everything eats a grunion. I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Is it?
What?
What family is it?
It's its own deal. It's not a smelt. It looks exactly like a smelt, but it's its own genus or whatever it is.
April and May, it is restricted from taking grunion. Outside of peak spawning period, it can be used.
As bait? Okay.
There you are.
So outside of peak spawning period.
Yeah, so like March is open.
April and May,
Yeah,
seasonal
April, May
restrictions,
is closed.
it's illegal to take Grunion during their peak spawning period.
All right.
But it does say, yes, Grunion can be used as bait.
Grunion can be used as bait. Thank God.
Oh,
I thought
man.
it was going to hell on
You
St.
got
Patrick's Day.
You got a couple weeks.
Now I can be honest with everybody. Oh man, they bite that so freaking good.
I'm gonna
Hey.
find California actually.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
though, 'cause
There should be one there.
Hey, don't. That's good enough right there, Tyler. Stop.
Don't
Stop.
dig anymore, huh?
as a
Yeah.
tech guy, you cannot trust ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's true. I know, really.
It hallucinates a lot.
Yeah, Roger, it works great. It works good in the surf, man. In fact, you can it's kind of dumb, but you just take a Grunion, cut it in half. You're
Yeah.
using a high-low rig.
Oh, yeah.
Just put the tail and the head and toss it out there.
Sure
and
it would work.
It works really, really good.
It catches straight halibut.
Straight halibut.
Keepers.
Once in a while, you get an albacore in there on the
Yeah,
beach. Woohoo! Salty Rod 365. Phil and Sam, I want to get into surf fishing. What is your recommendation on a setup to be all set up for SoCal surf fishing? Salty Rod, we better see you March 23rd. We'll be able to help you out down there. Sam, take it away.
So there's kind of three basic setups that you want to look at. One is going to be your bait setup, something that you're going to fish like a sand crab or something like that, and fishing a smaller weight for your surf perch and maybe some corbina. That's usually going to be a really light rod, 8 to 9 foot, and some like 4-pound test spinning reel, like a 1,000 size reel. You're not really casting very far. Most of the fish you're catching is going to be right in the whitewater. And then the next size up is going to be your kind of more, I guess, popular locally, is going to be something you're going to throw lures with. So also 8 to 9 foot, maybe up to 10 foot, and maybe a little bit bigger reel, like a 2,500 or a 3,000 size reel. A lot of guys are going to put braid on it, like 20-pound braid. And that's going to be what you see guys using, fishing lures like crocodiles, swim baits, your lucky crafts, Kitech, all that kind of stuff. That's more of a lure fishing rod. And it's just kind of what it suggests. It's a rod that's rated for a heavier lure weight, whereas your lighter one is just above a trout rod almost, kind of like a panfish rod or something like that, something that's going to be a little bit lighter. And you can even go shorter on that lighter one. I take my kids out surf fishing, and I literally give them like a 6-foot rod, and we catch perch and yellowfin croaker, no problem. But once you get into something heavier or bigger, you're going to be wanting a longer rod to cast that lucky craft or crocodile or whatever into that deeper water. And then when you get past that is your heavy bait and weight, kind of more your traditional larger rod and reel. Although now they make some nice like graphite rods that are skinnier, but it's going to be longer, and that's going to be where you cast like a 4 or 6 ounce pyramid weight, and just to kind of let it sit out there. And it's going to be more your bait and weight, something you put in a rod holder, and that's something also that you catch some of the same species like your yellowfin croaker and things like that. But maybe also in some areas targeting like your leopard grouper and bat rays. You can get some pretty big bat rays and leopard groupers in some areas. I know down here by Redondo, there's some areas there by Rat Beach where you catch 4 or 5 footers all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like 100-pound like bat rays and things like that. And you're using a big rod and reel. I mean, even guys that use like a full-on 100J jig stick with like a 4.0 and launch out with some 40 or 50-pound tests, and you can get in some pretty cool battles with that. It's not like the big shark fishing that they do in the Gulf Coast where they catch those big tiger sharks and things like that. It's not that kind of shark. They're different ones, but there's 7 gills and there's all kinds of other cool stuff over there. And that's going to be your big heavy duty rod. But most guys are going to start off with kind of that medium rod that you can throw some lures with, and you can kind of substitute with some light leader. You can maybe fish some of that bait stuff as well. So something in like a 8 to 9 foot, 9.5 foot or so, rated like a 8 to 17 with like a 2,500 or a 3,000 size reel to get you started real good.
You mentioned bat rays, and most people are like, trash fish, but God, they're fight fun. You get out of it. I've had a couple of occasions where I go, I got a half hour, I can go down to the beach and toss a jig. And I end up in an hour and a half screw up with a big bat, like, well over 100 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
They're bitching, man.
Yeah,
They're fun.
It's one of those species in which, it's a big game species that you can get from the beach.
Yeah, it's like catching a friggin' marlin on the beach.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So for you guys that have never tried it, I mean, it's worth it, and it's not a special rod. It's just going to be your jig stick. You take your 9 or 10 foot jig stick out there. You're going to cast like a 4 or 6 ounce pyramid sinker with a chunk of mackerel or a sardine or something like that. But the mackerel probably works the best because the skin is tougher and it won't fly off when you go cast it. But yeah, you just throw that thing out there and you use some of those like extendable beach rod holders.
Yeah.
And you want that thing real high so that it clears the surf, so the surf isn't jacking up your line. But it's pretty fun. That'd be a pretty cool video too, right there.
Yeah, it'd be really good, right?
Yeah.
Salty Rod, great question. Hope you get out soon. Live free, die free. Evening, Phil, Sam. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I wish I were closer, Phil, for Sunday. Would love to be there. Man, I wish you were too, but we'll get together some other time for sure. Roger Massage. How much is the El Dorado trip, Sam?
It is. Let me look it up here real quick. I don't want to give you the wrong price. I think it's $2.99.
$2.99.
Yeah, $2.99. Let me look at it up real quick. I'll answer him in a second.
Yeah, no
just to be
problem.
sure.
I have a clarification.
Yes.
On the Grunion.
Uh-oh. Clarification on the Grunion. Put those back right now. Take that hook out of it.
Details?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where's the mics?
Right here. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So this is important. This is important.
Clarification. Hold on. Breaking news. Tyler Tanaka.
Clarification.
Clarification on the Grunion.
So California Wildlife, Wild and Game added June as new regulations for seasonal no take. So
Dirty rats. Oh, I mean, that's
Yeah.
great. They're protecting those poor
So it's
fish.
April 1 through June 30th, and a limit of 30 must be hand collected.
Yeah.
No digging holes to trap the Grunion,
Yes.
nets, etc. So hand collected block of April 1 through June 30th.
So you can harvest April.
Outside of that.
Oh, outside of that.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
a seasonal no take closure
Yeah.
from April 1 through June 30th.
Yeah.
Or last night. I'm just kidding.
March is
Oh
okay.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
March is okay.
Didn't say anything about bait though. Using them for bait.
You can use them as bait.
You
Okay.
can use them as
Yeah.
Does
bait.
it say that in there, or does it not specify it on?
Sure,
in
it
the
says
line?
it.
I think there's going to be another area where it says what you can use for bait, and it'll
Maybe.
have things listed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll keep digging.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. No, you're not allowed to dig. Can't
no
dig any
digging
holes.
holes.
So
Yeah.
the price is $2.95. If you look on the
$2.95 to go Grunion on it. Jeez, that's gone
to
up
go on
lately.
the El Dorado, yeah.
Oh.
If you look on the website there, I just looked it up. It's there's 17 spots available, and you'll see our name listed on there.
It's a
that
Sunday,
trip.
right?
It's fishing on a Sunday, so
Yeah.
it'll say on there it's leaving the 12th, fishing the 13th.
All right. That sounds like a fun trip, man. What is the date of that again?
On leaving the 12th,
Uh-huh.
fishing the 13th. That's going to be on that leaving Saturday night to fish Sunday.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Quintin Trachia. Tomorrow I'm taking my son on his first trip. Hey, that is awesome. Half-day trip. Can you suggest some lures to use? Any other bait we should bring besides what we will have on board? Target is sculpin and bottom fish. Are you going on the Monte Carlo? Not that it makes any difference. Now that we know the species, you can help out. Hang on one second. Sam's running up to get something for you. March 23rd down in Sunset Beach. We would love to see you there. If you want info on that, if you want info on getting some of those raffle tickets or anything else, 657-227-6459. I think I'm holding this up because sculpin. Love these little
So,
devils.
You don't really need them to catch sculpin. They're going to have cut squid, or they're also going to have sardines that they'll cut up, things like that. But this is probably one of the ways that most guys do it, is that they'll put one of these guys here on a small lead head, and you'll have two of those. You'll have basically a double dropper loop, and instead of just having a bare hook, you'll have one of these on there. And the idea behind it isn't that you're going to catch more fish or that you won't catch fish without them. It's that you'll be able to kind of target the larger sculpin, because there is a limit on sculpin, and you want to just kind of keep the bigger ones. And one of the things to consider as well is that with sculpin and where they fish them, typically you can let them go and they'll swim right back down. So if you catch a couple little ones and you say, well, I want to kind of hold off for the bigger ones, typically if you let those go, they'll swim right back down, and so there's no Mojo, kind of an old school lure, but this is what you're going to see a lot of using. But it can probably honestly be any kind of plastic, really, any kind of paddle tail or whatever, and you put them on these small lead heads, and you'll do a double dropper loop with like a 6 or 8 ounce torpedo sinker at the bottom.
Quintin, have a great first trip with your son. That is fantastic. if you could do me a personal favor, if you get a great photo of your son, please shoot it over to me at that number I've been giving out tonight, and we'll use that on the morning briefing for sure. Have a great one. Jake Weingarten. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon, Jake. Good to see you here. Mike Krankovich, the cranker. Since I'm Scotty's fan base of only one, oh, are you wrong? Scott's got a huge fan base. I've got to go. See you guys next Monday. Go Team Scott. That's great. Mike Cranker's
I don't know
be
if 40 Wings is going to do it.
Yeah, really. Scott is dropping comments down below. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll see what it's all about here in a minute. Mike, the cranker Krinkovich, is going to be here. Big block, 760. Good evening, guys. When adding braid to your reel, what is the strongest braid to braid connection?
You know, I don't really have the data on the strongest one. I think the most common one is just a double uni knot, back-to-back uni, and you just make sure that you put a lot of turns on it. So whereas maybe if you were going to be using that same knot for tying like a fluorocarbon leader to your mono, you might only do like 4 or 5 turns. With this braid, because it is slipperier, you want to do like 10 or 15 turns, like a whole bunch of turns. You could do 20 turns. It's not going to hurt the line any. And that's going to be kind of the secret there. But that's the one I would do.
All right, very good. Sam is going to be going off to a CCA meeting at 7. Tyler Tanaka is going to come on with some great tackle tips at 7. So we've got a big show still going here. But let's get back to the comments and the cranker.
We had one,
Please.
too, with Tyler. He was mentioning using a hollow connection to join the two. And basically, if you have 2 pieces of solid, you could use a piece of hollow as kind of a bridge splice. We call it here a bridge splice, and you're going to use that to basically connect those 2 pieces of solid. Now that is technically going to be your strongest way to do that, because you're going to actually, at that point at which they are overlapping, you can double or you can add those up. And so if you had 80 and 80 with an 80-pound piece of hollow, at that juncture they'd be 160 because you haven't doubled the amount. So that technically is your strongest. But, depending on what you're doing it for, if if it needs to be real quick, like let's say you get in a tangle, you're cutting your line, that double uni, I've seen that land a bunch of big tuna, no problem. But if you wanted to put it to the test, I think using that bridge splice with a hollow piece in the middle is probably going to test out the strongest.
All right, very good. Brian Wynn, live from 22nd Street Landing, April the 9th at 11 a.m. on Friedman Adventures. Brian is not only a great guy, but a heck of a fishing expert, as Sam will tell you. Sam's the one who put me together with him in the first place. So good stuff. Mike Krankovich, can't get enough of Mike tonight. He says the Indy is looking beautiful, getting all spiffed up for the Friedman Adventures 5 days. She is looking fantastic. Looking good down there at 22nd Street Landing. 540 Slingers. That is our friend Jeff Yeomans. And he has happy St. Patty's Day, Sam and Phil. Thank you for your service, Jeff.
Jeff, too, I know that all last year you were waiting for me to get in those 9-foot blanks that I kind of let you guys borrow for your trip. We finally got them in. I think Danny's seen a couple of them. So if he hasn't told you about them or you want to check them out, next time you're in the neighborhood, come by and check them out.
All right, good stuff. David Rosenthal says, good evening, fellas.
Good
Hey,
evening.
David. You know what that is? That's David's.
That's David's.
Yeah, David. Good to see you, man. I'm wearing the green over it tonight, though. Even though there's green in it, I want to be obnoxiously green. El Dorado Sportfishing. Hey, the boys I'm just talking about you. Their ears are burning. Hey, Phil and Sam, cleanup is going strong, and we're hopeful to be up and running ASAP.
I bet you they'll have it done before.
There it is, man. Yeah. Will and TJ, as I mentioned, you guys have been on the show recently, and we loved you. You did a great job. John Graber. John, you better be there on March the 23rd, or I will break into tears. And yes, Tyler says it's okay to cut the head off a grunion and use it for bait in a ceremonial kind of, I don't know.
Only if harvested legally within that time.
Only if harvested legally within that time
Well,
period.
also, too, you probably can't be in possession of one. So, like,
Probably not.
If you harvested on March 31st and then use it on April 1st, you probably would be outside of the boundaries. So
Yeah.
be careful of that. Even if you got them tomorrow and then you didn't use
You
it for a
freeze
month.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's a screwed up rule, but
Well, I mean, they don't know when you got them.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know when you got them. So
Yeah.
why did they presume you're guilty?
Well.
This is not Napoleonic law in this country. You are innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell that to
Unfortunately,
the Fish and Wildlife guy that's writing you a ticket, right?
That you can use it for bait, only if harvested within that time frame.
Well, see, that does allow you to do it. That does, that definition. He says if you harvest it during the legal time period, you can use it. Well, then that opens the door to using it in June when it's not legal because you harvested it during the legal period. No?
No,
Nah.
it does not specify that.
What does it say again?
It says
I'm going to
that-
hear this one more time.
It says that it can be used as bait if harvested legally during the open season, which is July 1 to March 31st.
Okay, so let me just go through that.
The way I read the regulations
Yeah.
from California State Fish and Game, which can be
Can everybody hear him? Yeah, I think.
difficult to interpret,
Yeah.
is that it does not say that you can use the bait within the blockout period. It says that you can use the bait if legally harvested.
It doesn't prohibit you from
Doesn't-
using the
it
bait.
also doesn't say that it
That's right.
prohibits you. So
That's right.
you go argue.
No, I'm not doing
If
it.
you're an
I'm-
officer,
I don't want to get involved
Yeah.
in it, but I mean, I'm just trying to.
just don't use Grunion for bait. How about that?
Yeah, stop using them. Just
Doesn't
eat them
even
like they're.
work. Doesn't even work.
Yeah, it's crap. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
never. That story I told you about the guy that had the 5 big Corvinas, all BS.
Yeah, he was using squid.
Yeah, he was exactly. He was using. He went to Popeye's chicken and got a fish
I heard you got
sandwich.
one on a Tally 45.
Yeah, and one on a chicken wing. Buffalo Gold.
Buffalo
Your
Gold, yeah.
favorite. All right. Hey, John, I hope we see you. Martine M. Hi, guys. What setup line would you recommend for Coronado Island Yellowtail fishing? I love that place. With a 1.5, 5-ounce hub hookup bait. Planning to go out later this year. Best of luck to you, Martin.
So that's one, that those hookup baits, a lot of times you look at them and it looks like you have to fish them on light line or something like that. But I would say 30, 40 pound test. And just kind of like if it was going to be a yo-yo jig kind of setup, 30, 40 pound test would be just fine. I know a lot of the hookup bait guys do use a spinning rod. They want to have it fall as freely as possible. That's where it's going to have a lot of more action on the fall. And so some guys do use a spinning rod, something like a 6,000 or 8,000 size reel on like a 7 to 8 foot, 20 to 40, 20 to 50 size rod. But if it was me, I probably would be fishing it like on a Trinidad 16 size reel, some 50 pound braid and maybe some 30 pound fluorocarbon top shot.
All right, very good. Hit that like button, everybody. Deeply appreciate it when you do that. Salty Rod 365 says helpful info. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Jaime Fernandez Jr., good evening, Phil and Sam. Jaime, good to see you. It's been a while since I've tapped in with you, and we're glad to see you back, that is for sure. Any new good stuff like Akuma Makaira, reels or UC rail rods, any new magic colors from Mustad on the jigs for nighttime bite? Jaime, thank you.
Well, that's all in the future. We will see. We will see what comes this year. It does seem like every year it's a little different here and there. About the only thing that I can say that guys are really kind of getting into this year and really accepting is the tungsten jigs. I know we sold a bunch of the 180s. I know we have also some 200s, 250s, and 300s coming. Those will all be coming within the month and hopefully right in time for this fish to show up. But so the tungsten jig's probably the only thing that I would say is going to be kind of something that most people don't already have in their tackle box that a lot of people are going to buy. As far as any new colors, I know Mustad did come out with some new colors for the rip rollers. Nothing that I saw that is going to be that different than what's already out there. That red one with the polka dots has still been the most popular one, and I think that'll probably work pretty good again. As far as new reels, no new reels for sure. And no new rods from UC. They did come out with a new series of rail rods in their composite extreme kind of lineup. And they're the GPXs, which is the ones that have the extra carbon overlay at the bottom part of the rod. So you are going to see those. Those are going to be the RGPX rods.
All right, good stuff. And now we're getting into the meat of tonight's discussion. You have to go somewhere for a second? All right. Sam's got a late customer that came in, so he's going to take care of him. Scott Buchert, I'll be there next Monday to do a potluck. I'll bring some food too. All right. And then Scott Buchert says, hi, Sam and Phil. And then Scott Buchert says, raffle next Monday. And then Chris Navarro says, Sam, circle hooks or J hooks for rock fishing, size. Please use owner hook sizes for example. We got to wait for Sam, but I would go circle hooks if I were you. For sure, like a 3-0 should be absolutely perfect. Richie Rich says, hit that like button. Fishing Vita. Oh, wait a minute. Are you waving at me, Tyler? Do you have something? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. I thought we had more.
Why would you go with the circle hook?
I don't know. I just feel like you don't have to set the hook or anything. Fish bites the bait. When we commercial fish, we fish pretty much straight circle hooks. And then you don't even have to do anything. You just throw the set line over, and they climb up. And you can go either way. I don't know that it's all that big a deal. But once they bite that circle hook, you got them.
You're taking away all the fun of setting,
Well, that's true.
setting the hook from 300 feet.
That's true. And with Spectra, you can actually feel the bites and everything else. So,
I don't even use hooks.
yeah, really. All right, did I
Catch
screw?
the fish and then the lingcod bites that.
Yeah, yeah. The hitchhiker. Sam, did I screw that up? What's do you
Most
use circle
likely.
hooks or J hooks for rock fishing? What size?
I'm mostly using J hooks. I'm using kind of a
Oh
lighter
man,
wire hook.
I blew it.
But I don't think it matters. I mean, you use some of those kind of larger gap circle hooks. I
Yeah.
think they'll work just fine. You get into like maybe an owner, they have those, what's those medium hooks? It's drawn a blank here at the moment. The hybrid circle hook. That's
Mutu hybrid.
the Mutu hybrid circle hook. I think that'll be a good one if you want to use a circle hook. But those SSW hooks, which is probably the most popular hook for rock fishing. I like them because they have a thin wire gauge, and so they hook a fish really, really easily. So, but I think a circle hook's fine too. Use whatever you want.
All right.
Treble hook, circle hook, whatever.
What would you use for bait?
Gaff hook, whatever. Bait.
Grunion for sure.
Grunion for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the 10th of July, then you can't do it.
Yeah.
But the 11th of July, go for it, man. No problem. All right. That was Chris Navarro. Richie Rich, what a gentleman. He says, hit that like button.
He should.
He's looking out for us, man. Fishing Vida. Or, for you gringos out there, fishing life. Oh, I'm one of those gringos. What am I talking about? Hey, Phil and Sam. Nick from Bass Pro. Nick, what's up,
There you go,
buddy?
Nick.
Love you. It's good to see you here. Hope you've all been good. Gonna be attending the Halibut Derby on the Native Sun. Any tips? Also, can you recommend a jig other than a yo-yo for Jurel? Since he's doing Fishing Vida, I thought I would use the Spanish for Yellowtail. Jurel. So Sam will be right back with an answer to that. But in the meantime, Fishing Vida, I say you should attend the March 23rd Fish with Phil Frieman's birthday. Dan Lightfoot will be there. Anthony will be there signing people up for the raffle. We've got free hooks for everybody in attendance. I'm going out to Ontario on Wednesday and bringing back beautiful rod and reel combos that will also be up for the raffle. And I think we've got a whole bunch of other people involved in this too, but I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. That is the 23rd of March, my B-Day. And for my B-Day, what I want to do more than anything else, besides hug Dan Lightfoot, I want to thank you for your great support. I mean that sincerely, and that'll be a fun day, and looking forward to doing that with all of you. All right, Sam, Nick wants to know a good jig besides yo-yo for Yellowtail. So I'm sure you're going to jump into the surface iron.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's so many jigs that a yellowtail will eat. I mean, a yo-yo is kind of a universal jig for sure, and especially early in the season, when most of the fish is going to be not up and biting on the surface. A yo-yo jig's kind of what you want to go with. But I mean, anything from a Colt sniper jig, knife jig, and then we're going to get into the surface iron stuff. The surface iron is also going to be another one too. But they'll eat a wax wing, they'll eat a stick bait. There's really a lot of lures that a yellowtail will eat, and that's kind of one of the reasons we love yellowtail so much, is that they do eat a lot of different kinds of lures. So if you're going to add to something like that, if you're looking at a more of a up and down type of thing, throw a knife jig into the mix. And sometimes you don't need a knife jig rod to fish a knife jig. And I think that if you fish that knife jig in a time in which there is some yellowtail around, you'll gain a little more confidence in it and use it a lot more. But then after that, just throw in a couple yo-yo jigs. That's going to be the next thing, especially for coronados. that's going to be typically the first place that you start seeing more of a surface bite. And if you're fishing down there, I think that definitely I would always be taking a surface iron setup down there.
All right, very good. Hey, thank you so much, Nick. Good to see you here. Raul Amaraz, our dear friend Sam. What's up, Sam? I have a CalStar 800 M Mag. What reel would you recommend?
Something in that middle size, like a Trinidad 16 or 20 size, either that or like a Fathom 25 narrow or a Daiwa 35 size reel. That'd be what I'd be looking at. And you can go single speed or 2-speed depending on what you think you're going to be doing with it more.
All right, very good. Chivo Robledo, perdón. What is the 23rd event all about? Hey, Chivo, if you need more info, just send me a text tonight. I'm going to tell you, but I want to give you that number so I can help you out, 657-227-6459. I can send you more info or we can get on a phone call. It's just a surf fishing day where we're going to meet in Sunset Beach at 6 to 10 in the morning, and we're going to have all kinds of giveaways. We're going to have a raffle. Everyone's going to surf fish together. You can do a little beach cleanup. You can bring your chair and drink coffee and eat donuts with Dan Lightfoot. We're going to have a donut eating contest. Dan ate 46 jelly donuts last time. It was amazing. Really, really good stuff. But all of that, it's going to be really a fun event. And Chivo, what I really want to emphasize is it's a family day. Bring the kids. They'll run around with Michael and everybody else and have a really good day. But send me a text if I can help in any other way. David Rosenthal loves the shirt that I'm wearing. Gilbert Ibanez says, hello, Phil and Sam. Gilbert, good to see you. You were talking about bridging line. Is it possible bridging 50 or 65-pound braid or 30 or 40-pound floral carbon line?
Yeah. I mean, that method that I was talking about, where you have the hollow, that's, and you can pretty much put almost any size into either side. If you're going to go, the limiting factor is how big of a hollow piece you have. If you have something that's too big, you could only put something that is so small into that hollow and have it kind of hold on. One of the things you could do is you can double the smaller line over if you needed to, but you want to stay about the same size. So if you're using, let's say, 50-pound braid and like a 65-pound braid, you probably want to stick with like a 60-pound hollow. You don't want to go to like a 100 or 130-pound hollow because it just won't contract enough to really grab onto like a 50-pound braid. So you want to keep that bridge part of it about as equal as you can to those other two lines.
We are at 100 people watching right now. We appreciate it. Roger Massage, Phil, I'm confused. I went to the Ventura Sport Fishing website. And it says there's a lot of spots for the Island Spirit April 4th, which is our trip. We're sold out. When is your trip? It's April 4th. Are there any spots there are not? But that sounds kind of weird, so I will check into that in the morning for sure. And just send me a text and we'll figure that all out. There must be a foul-up going on. Zachary Chen. Hey, Sam and Phil, I have the Major Craft 180-gram tungsten jig. I noticed that the eye on that jig is smaller than the others. What size split ring would you rig it with?
Well, actually, I did see that myself. I think a number 7 might fit in there, but if it was going to be for me to fish that thing, I probably would weld a solid ring onto those, and then you could attach a split ring to that solid ring that you would weld onto those. But it is a little bit of a smaller size. I think a number 7 would fit. I'm going to probably have to test that out for you. Let me see if I can go look at that.
All right. Drunk Monk. Man, I like that name. Drunk Monk. I bet there's been a few drunk monks in the history of monks. Good afternoon, guys. Scott Bucher, I guess we could defer to Tyler on this. Scott wants to know, can I use a grunion for bait surf fishing tomorrow? Yes, right? The answer is yes.
It's still March, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can use a grunion for bait tomorrow.
Caught by hand,
If caught by hand, legally, and you didn't dig a hole, and you didn't bring like one of those salmon commercial nets that you use up in Alaska to catch them with. Not allowed to do that. I don't know why they prohibit you from stretching out 200 yards of net on the beach to do that, but they're weird. They just don't do that. So yeah, Scott, you can do that. Drunk Monk. I pulled my rods out of storage. Some have a couple of chips on the epoxy clear. would you guys have any recommendations? You got any recommendations on that, Tyler?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, Sam's coming. Yeah. Sam says, don't worry about it. It fishes just the same.
It'll be just fine.
Will it be fine?
Meeting.
Yeah, you'll be just fine on that. I don't think it's something that I would be concerned with. If you are really concerned about the cosmetic look of it, you got to kind of like rewrap it almost to get rid of that. But that's pretty normal, and I wouldn't worry about it. The only thing I'd be worried about is if maybe the reason that was caused was by some kind of something leaning really hard against that guide. You might want to check the guide and make sure your insert isn't messed up. But as far as the finish itself, I think you'll be okay.
All right, very good, Drunk Monk. I hope that is going to take care of you. Sam's going to be leaving in 3 more minutes, so you can hang on to questions for Sam. I don't even know that we're going to have him on. Tyler will be joining us here in a second. Gonzalez Fishing, good afternoon, Phil and Sam. Gonzalez Fishing, always great to see you. JD says, hi, Phil and Sam. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Lucky Day is very excited for your birthday. Oh, shoot, Lucky. JD. Now I know who I'm talking to. Hey, Lucky, love you, man. You did such a great job. Lucky's got to be there, and Lucky, that will make that day really special for me. JD, love you guys. And Lucky, man, I'm still going to rely on you when I need somebody to fill in for me because you did such a great job, especially on the commercials, man. Your live read was as good as it gets. Really, really good. Are you doing something else, or are you out of here?
I'm out of here.
Okay.
But
come on up, Tyler.
But
Yes.
I'll try to mess with this here during the meeting. If I figure it out, I'll bring back the answer on the tungsten jig and the.
Okay. That's if we're still going. We may be down at the place waiting for you.
You might be.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, you want me to help you put this on? Let me, don't get too close. Oh, go ahead. I don't care. What do I care? All right, Tyler.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How's everything?
It's been too long.
You're looking spiffy with green. I like it.
Because I'm Irish.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Tyler Tanaka. That's an Irish name.
Don't you? How many? You don't know any Tanakas that are Irish?
I don't know if I do or not, but I'm sure that happens all the time.
I actually am Irish.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I am too.
I'm a quarter Irish.
That's great. And
Yeah.
is St. Patrick's Day a big deal for you?
I love to go get a Guinness
Yeah.
and corned beef and cabbage.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, that was a tradition in my house.
Yeah, for sure.
My mom would make corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah. St. Patrick's Day, great day, no question about it.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
great story. People don't actually know the story. Right?
Hey, by the way, I'm going to turn this over to Tyler in a second. I'll sit here also, but Jason Cutler, he's all over this already. I've just emailed the California Department of Fish and Wildlife about using Grunion as bait during April, May, and June. Their response, yes, you may legally acquire Grunion for bait. There you are, man. You got an answer already. Jason, you're hired, man. Oh, he emailed him a while ago.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
I would recommend not asking any questions to the California.
Yeah, really. Oh,
State-
yeah, I'll be
state game.
fishing on the Surfside Beach
Yeah.
tonight at 10 o'clock
like-
using Grunion. See you there.
It's like every question that we ask, they're like, we're going to put together a 7-year study to see if we'll ban that.
Yeah, right. Chris Navarro, I like his take on this. He says that your name is actually Tyler Otanaka.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
Well, that's good.
I love that. Yeah. I actually am. I'm 2/3 of the Axis powers.
Yes, that's right.
I'm Irish, German, and Japanese.
Yeah, you are 2 of the Axis powers.
Yeah.
But you're over on the good side now, right?
Yes. That's right.
Jason says I screwed up when I read it, and Jason, believe me, that does not surprise me one bit at all. If you acquire the Grunion during the open season, that's when you may use it. Thank you, Jason.
That's exactly what we said.
Well, I know, but I think I screwed up when I read his
Okay,
thing.
all right.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
I claim to not play a lawyer even on Friedman Adventures, Tackle Shop Conventions.
Yeah, but I mean, the way, I'm not going to get into the mini issue, but the way that reads is, you know, but it's like, it's a possession thing. That's
Yeah,
where the problem comes
exactly.
in. So if you're out on your private boat and you got some frozen lobster and you're out there in the off season, they come into your galley on the boat and say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm cooking some that I froze." They're gonna bust you.
Potentially.
Yeah, it's possible. All right, Chris Navarro says, "I'll bring some carnivorous grinds next Monday for Grandpa Phil birthday show." Hey, that's my birthday show. Yeah, I might as well ride this birthday thing into the Monday.
Your
thing
birthday is on
also.
the 23rd.
Yes, March 23rd, my favorite number.
Yeah, you're because of
My
your,
son is born.
yes,
February.
and your father's
when is he
jersey
born?
number.
That's correct. Well,
right?
you already know all this bull, all right?
Yeah,
I've droned on about it so much, you've memorized it.
I have. I've heard the story a lot.
I'll stop. That's a little subtle hint to shut up with the 23 crap. Jason, but you all cannot use it, and I will catch all the halibut and calicos for you. He's going to use it. Man, yeah, I got it. It's very confusing on the California Department of Wildlife website. That's why he got it right from the horse's mouth. And
Yeah.
Jason, thank you for sharing that. What do you have for us tonight, Tyler?
I would be shocked though that Grunion would outperform squid
Where?
for anything.
Well, I think it would in the surf outperform
think so?
it. Yeah, you're going to catch all the strays and sharks
Like
and
a
all
little-
that crap on the squid.
Like a small squid strip on anything.
Yeah, you're going to catch crap with that. You know, guys are, I mean, what I call crap, like sharks, rays,
Okay.
thornback, skates, that kind of stuff. You're throwing a grunion, you're going to get a big yellowfin croaker, a big corvina, halibut.
Even dead.
Yes. Yeah, no problem. No problem. I've probably,
I'd like somebody to put this to the test.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
In
tell you.
season or out of season.
Well, yeah, no, don't start that again. I'll tell you, I'm going to get myself in trouble. Thank God my wife has no interest in A, fishing, and B, she doesn't speak English. So I threw out a high-low rig with a grunion, two grunion. I just took a grunion, cut it in half, the head part on the bottom and the tail on the top. Tossed it out there, and I put it in this little rod rack, you know, or whatever you call that thing that you stick in the sand.
Yep.
And
Surf spike.
this really pretty girl was walking by in a bikini. Okay? Not that but I turned around just to admire the sunrise.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my wife whenever she
Yeah,
catches
yeah.
me. I'm looking at I'm looking at the sunrise. When I turned around, my freaking rod was 3 feet it was going through the sand like that. And I just barely got it on time. Big yellowfin croaker on there. I've caught so much fish on that. By the way, for a St. Patrick's Day memory, I'm supposed to turn this over to you. I caught my biggest yellowfin croaker ever on St. Patrick's Day a few years ago on a green jig. And it was almost 22 inches long. So my son Philip goes, "This is, it's a world record, Dad." You know. So he actually looked it up. The largest yellowfin croaker caught by a guy named Fred Oakley, who I fished with as a kid. He's passed away.
Is that long?
21 3/4 inches.
So it was longer.
It was long. It was a little bit longer right there. So they're like, "We got to go get a certified scale." So we go down to Big Fish and Rod. He goes, "That's the biggest one I've ever seen." Bob Osborne, who fishes down, the biggest one I've ever seen. Anyway, we started going like to store to store. This guy didn't have that kind of a scale. Oh, you can go to the super.
Got to be certified.
I walked into a
Right.
frickin' donut place, Cambodian girls, where I buy donuts. And I go, "I'd like to have that for breakfast." They're like, "Oh yeah, thank you." I'm done with this. Philip thought they
you
were
just
gonna,
gave it away?
Yeah, Philip thought they were gonna have a parade down the Main Street because I got that. I was just over it. But that was bitching, man. It was so. When I hooked it, I'm doing all the filming constantly. I turn to Philip and I go, "Philip, film this. This is a really nice fish. I can tell you that right now." And then it came up, and it didn't
That's a
even.
big fish.
It didn't look like a yellowfin croaker. It looked like a red drum, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of had that weird look. Once they get
Aren't they closely related though?
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And once they get past, I want to say 19 inches, they almost take on a different look.
Like their head starts to change shape
Yes,
and everything. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, hey Jason, yeah, thank you so much. Grunion work great on everything. Scott Buchard, can you add Marcus next time? He works for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'm just going to read a couple more and turn it over to you. Glenn Del Mendo, hello. Phil, Sam, and the entire Friedman show. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Love the green, guys. Thank you so much, Glenn. What do you have for us tonight? What are you talking about?
Are there any other tackle questions?
Nope.
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 All good.
We're all caught up.
All right. Well, I just went through my notes of tips and things that I'd like to know, basically, if I was just getting started, or even, there's seasoned guys out there that you can always learn something, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, what are the most important things to know when you walk on any boat?
Yeah.
What questions should you ask?
You're talking about a novice?
A novice or somebody who just wants to get better,
Okay.
and catch more fish.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get Sam's opinion on this. It
Yeah.
would have been a good back and forth. But there's a couple of questions that are super important. And so one of them is, you should always ask right away. So these are questions that you should know on any sport fishing boat that you get on.
Yes.
And the first one is, how long does it take the boat to stop on the slide?
Uh-huh.
And for those of you that don't understand the slide or don't know about the slide, when a captain is rolling up into fish, he's going to kill the engines and try to position the boat so that they can start throwing chum.
Yeah.
And the boat's construction, the way that the boat is designed, the material that the boat is built out of, has a huge amount to do with how long it takes to stop.
Yes.
And the reason why that's so important is because if you're in too early with your bait or lure.
Now, are you talking about specifically albacore fishing? I mean, it sounds like it.
Yeah, you got to be in at the right time for
Yeah.
albacore, for
Yeah.
sure. But this is really for anything. If you're pulling up to a patty, if they see if they see birds, and you're at the islands going after yellowtail,
Yeah.
or a school of tuna, it really matters when you're in the water.
Yeah.
And the reason is because if you're in early with bait, the bait will be dragged out way behind the boat, and the captain is positioning it to throw chum to get fish up, to come up to the boat.
Yeah.
Or if you're throwing lures like surface iron, or if you're dropping a jig, especially down deep, if the boat is still moving at a really high velocity, you're going to be so scoped out, or you're going to be running to the back of the boat or running to the front of the boat, depending on current and how the boat is actually sliding.
Yes.
So it's really important to ask the crew and the captain, hey, tell me about the characteristics of the boat.
Because all boats are different.
They're all different.
Yeah.
And you've got aluminum boats, you've got steel boats, you've got wood and steel boats. And the width of the boat and the way it's designed, every boat has a different personality.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to know, like, hey, this boat takes a long time to stop.
Yes.
And so then you need to wait and be patient before pitching out your bait.
Yeah.
Or pitching out your lure. Also, if it takes a long time to stop on the slide, you can go all the way up to the bow and pitch out way up swell, in which the direction the boat is sliding.
I love fishing up there.
And then you'll have lots of time for your lure
Yeah.
to come down and then be straight up and down, right? But most of the time, you always want to be presenting your lure straight up and down,
Yes.
especially with jigs.
Yes.
So if you don't ask your crew or captain, how long does it take to slide, stop on the slide, you're missing out a critical piece of information.
Okay.
So that would be one question
Good
that you
stuff.
would want to ask. All right. The second is, well, then how does the boat drift? So I'll give a really specific example. If you are not on the right side of the boat, or at the bow or at the stern,
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to not be presenting your lures to get the best chance to catch fish.
Yeah.
So everybody on the following has probably heard of the Pacific Queen. That is one of the most amazing fishy tuna. If you're after personal best bluefin tuna, hard to beat getting out on the Pacific Queen.
Yep.
They always seem to put guys on giant bluefin.
Yeah. They target that. New Loan's another boat that
New
does
Loan,
that. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And there's some fishy, day and a half, 2 day,
Oh, yeah.
3 day boats.
A lot of guys.
Aliar,
Yep.
out of
Polaris
Seaforth on the
Supreme.
Polaris Supreme.
That kid
Fishy
Max
captains.
is really good on the Pacific Voyager.
Okay,
He's
I haven't
new,
been
yeah,
out on the
he's
Pacific
great.
Voyager. Okay, so one really interesting thing about the Pacific Queen is it drifts to the stern.
Right.
And so it stacks everybody up to kill fish at the bow.
Yeah.
And so everybody who's hooked up will end up at the bow fighting your fish.
Yeah.
That's not the norm, though. So the first time you're hooked up on the Pacific Queen, if you haven't figured out that you're going in the opposite direction of every other fish you've ever hooked up with
Yeah.
on another boat,
Yeah.
going to the stern, it's really odd. You got to be ready to move through the corners differently. You need to be prepared to go straight to the bow.
Yes.
That's where the deckhands are going to be working fish. Everybody's going to be stacked up on the rail. But that's really unique.
Yes.
The Pacific Queen is unique in how fast it drifts to the bow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
You taking notes on this, Dan?
Yes. I fished
So-
the Pacific Queen more times than anybody.
He's fished the
Okay.
Pacific Queen more times than anybody.
Okay.
More times than
And-
Eddie McEwen.
and it is an interesting boat, how it drifts and how it stops on the slide.
Yeah.
And so it really makes a big difference. So you got to be making sure that you're aware of how the boat is drifting.
Yes.
So that would be question number 2.
Perfect.
Which direction does the boat drift?
And that would apply to any kind of fishing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as you're drifting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Bluefin, whatever.
Then there's all the normal stuff. No angles, no tangles.
Yeah.
Wind in your face, you're in the right place.
Yep.
You know, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
All right. All right. Third question is, how does the captain like to position the boat coming up on fish?
Yeah.
A lot of the times, again, this is related to how the boat drifts.
Yeah.
The captain's going to turn to the port or turn to the starboard. And it'll completely change the way that you need to be positioned to throw, especially throwing surface iron or throwing bait off of the corner.
Yeah.
Because if the captain's tendency is to always come in and slow the boat and turn to the port, to position the boat to drift a certain way, if you're on the starboard set up and everybody is already at the bait tank ready to throw off the opposite corner,
Right.
you're going to be the last man out. And usually first lures in are what's getting bit.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And then tied to that question is ask the deckhands, what corner do you like to throw your 1s and 2s? And so if you've heard this term before, the captain will call out to the deckhand standing up on top of the bait tank how many bait they should be throwing out in their chum line. And generally, you'll hear, hey, port side 1s and 2s, or starboard corner 1s and 2s. And so they're literally throwing 1 or 2 sardines at a time,
Right.
or anchovies out. So it's way easier for the deckhand to be standing throwing this way across his body, right, to the starboard side stern corner.
Yes.
That's where you need to be standing to be able to get your bait out into that chum
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
So you want to ask ahead of time so that first stop you actually know, where do I want to be presenting my bait or my lure?
He's going to throw that bait too, depending on the current. So, like, if the current is going if the current's going this way, the last thing you want to do is throw your bait way over there because it's going to end up way out there. And
Exactly.
He's going to be throwing it uphill,
Yep.
and then it's going to come across the stern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if the current is, and again, this is back to which way is the boat going to drift and how the captain
Yeah.
is positioning the boat.
Yep.
He may be throwing to the starboard corner, and if you're not casting out standing in the corner, you're quickly going to be on the port side corner.
Yeah.
Right? But
Definitely.
that's where you're going to hook up, right?
Yep.
Because the bait is going to end
Yeah,
up be there.
definitely.
So you need to know and ask ahead of time. You'll save yourself a whole bunch of grief, and you'll understand. Also, that first stop, really just pause and take a minute to actually observe what's going on. So how's the boat coming to a stop? Where is that deckhand throwing out
Yeah.
bait? You got to see the current. You got to see which way the boat is actually moving relative to the wind and the boat position. So,
Yeah.
excuse me, it does pay to be patient and ask questions and
Good
learn,
stuff. Yeah.
ahead of time. It'll increase your likelihood of getting hooked up.
Yeah. 100%. Dan has a question he asks when he gets on, and you've skipped over it, and I think it's pretty important.
Where's the head?
No, it's what time do the breakfast burritos
Yes.
get going?
Well, if anybody knows me, it's a successful day on the water if I've gotten a breakfast burrito.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's like my level of expectation. So if I get
Man.
skunked, hopefully that doesn't happen very often. And thankfully it hasn't happened very often. But if I get skunked, at least I go home with a breakfast burrito.
You got to try one of our breakfast burritos one of these days.
sure it's
Ruth, my
amazing.
wife and I are doing them because we're actually like catering some stuff now.
Okay.
Because her father's in old person's home in Costa Rica, so we're
Okay.
paying his whole thing. So she said, let's do some catering. So we got 100 burritos for Thursday we're doing. Anthony's doing cookies and okay. You got to try those one of these days.
I'm game.
Yep. I'll make them for you, man.
Yeah, so-
Chorizo and go ahead. Yes. What? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So those are 4 really important questions
Excellent.
to ask. And if you're not asking that on a new boat, you are really hindering yourself from being able to actually get your highest percentage of hookup.
Yeah.
If
And-
you go on the same boat, it might just sort of be natural because you're always on the same boat, and so you know the way that it behaves and you know what the crew's going to do. But if you go on a new boat, you got to ask. You got to
Yes,
find out that
100%.
information. It's really, really important.
The other thing, I'll be on a boat and somebody will walk up to me, a passenger who loves the podcast, for example, and they'll say, what's working? And I'll be standing next to a deckhand, and I will always defer. I'll go, hey, this guy was out here yesterday
Yeah.
and the day before and the day before. He's been seeing what's going on. That's the guy you want to direct that question
Yep.
to.
Yep.
Because I'm going to tell you what I heard. He's going to tell you exactly what he saw. And so just ask him, what's working, you know?
Exactly.
What jigs
Yeah.
are working? What, pound test should I use?
Yeah, if you're not able to, well, I don't know why you wouldn't be following Phil in the morning.
Thank
briefing
you.
to hear all of that.
Darn right.
Smash that like button.
Smash it now.
One of the best things that you can do as the season gets kicked off, you'll notice a lot of captains' talks being filmed and recorded and posted online.
Yes.
That's generally the best information
Yeah.
for going out that next week.
Yep.
They'll usually tell you where they're actually headed.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going west or we're going south, or the spotter planes couldn't find them. So really use Google and use YouTube search engine. YouTube is actually the #2 search engine in the world, so use it. Just
What's
type
number 1?
Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said YouTube. Okay. Yeah,
YouTube
it's
is number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Owned by Google.
Yeah.
But-
Man, they got it wrapped up, don't they?
Yeah. Use YouTube as a search engine.
Yeah.
And search for captain's briefings before you're going out and see if anybody's posted any captain's briefings. Usually you'll get to hear a huge amount of information. And they'll tell you what you need to be rigged up with, what you need to be using, if dropper loops have been working, if sinker rigs have been working, what kind of sinker rig, what kind of jigs. And one of the most important things is, obviously the current and the swell is always changing, but generally they're going to tell you what weight torpedoes have been needed to get down
Yeah.
to the right depth and what weight jigs. And so
Yep.
at least hey, I shouldn't be going out with 250 gram knife jigs. I need to bring 300s and 400s. So you use those captain's briefings to give you a better chance.
Sounds good. Chuck
Yeah.
Zimmer says, hey, Tyler, can you set up a tour at Seeker for Phil and I to check it out?
Done.
Done deal. We got it. Z Custom Rods. We're in, Chuck. We got it. Calico Chris, who does the colder ice.
Oh, yeah, colder
Colder
ice.
ice. It's his birthday.
That's an amazing product.
It is, man. Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Chris.
happy birthday.
Do you want to sing happy birthday to him or leave it at that?
Happy birthday.
All right, Chris, you're number 1, man. I hope we see you March 23rd.
Chuck had a question from last week's
Yeah.
Tackle Shop Confessions. He was asking
Chuck Zimmer?
Yeah, Chuck
Okay.
asked a question about not cold shrink.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
was
kind of
used
remember
on
that.
rail
Vaguely
rods.
remember that.
And Sam was saying, there are specific types of rod wraps, but Seeker does use a very special, I think it's for fuel hose, and it's unbelievably durable, but I'm sure that Chuck would be able to get some rod supplies.
Very cool.
Directly from Secret.
All right, you're going to make that happen for us. We'll go over there and film it.
Great.
That'll be great. Let's see, Jason Cutter. Hey, Jason. Yeah, he said, when I was on the Pacific Queen, I think every tuna on the ocean wanted to get aboard. Trip of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you fish the Queen a lot?
It's hard to get on the Queen.
Yeah, I know.
So I put a PB last year on the Queen, so it's a fishy boat.
Yeah.
Those guys are super fishy.
Robert Graver, good evening, Phil, Sam, and Tyler, and the Friedman Adventures family. Joining way too late. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Nonetheless, always good to see you, Robert. Mackey's here also, Robert, so he sends his best to you. Perfect. Anything else?
I mean, we could talk all night.
I know we could, but guys want to eat chicken wings and do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's up to you. If you have something more.
I think Sam brought out a couple of.
I think he
these
was
things.
going to do something, but we're not waiting for him.
Yeah, I think I know what he was going to say.
Oh, go for it.
So somebody asked a question about the jig eye being quite small on the tungsten lures.
Yeah.
So this is jig para, 180 gram, and you notice here, this is a very small eye.
Yes.
And one of the things too. Oh, also here's a good tip. Talking about tungsten lures since they're all the rage. Tungsten is very difficult to pour because it has to be smelted at an incredibly high temperature. And so there's only certain foundries that can pour tungsten at the super high temperature. And then what makes it difficult, excuse me, is because of the high temperature, it can damage the wire that's running through the tungsten body. And so this should all be through wire, right? There should be one through wire eye connected here to where you would put your hooks.
Yeah.
And so I don't normally have to do this when I, let's say, take out a Colt Sniper or a Zakana, right? A Shimano, like a regular traditional small metal bait. But you should always inspect the eye in a tungsten lure to make sure that it is in fact not been damaged or melted and that it has been poured properly
Good
around
tip.
the eye.
Yeah. Or it could be defective, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And so you could have a weakened part up here.
Yes.
If they use thin wire on your tungsten, the last thing you want is to get hooked up and the eye will just pull straight out from the heat damage because tungsten has to be poured so hot.
Yeah.
So make sure that you take the jig out and inspect your eye and hook.
We don't need Sam.
Well,
Yeah, look at that, man.
just make sure and do that. Excuse me, for tungsten. Yeah, and pardon me, guys. I've stay away from the cold. I have this residual.
Yeah, what's going on with you? You
Oh
got
man,
Yeah? How long have you had this?
like 2 weeks I've been coughing.
I went through that though.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, kind of.
So every time I talk for
Yeah, you start going down the
months, yeah.
tubes. Yeah. All right, good.
So his question was, somebody had a question earlier, maybe Chris Navarro.
Yeah.
It was because the eye is generally a lot smaller on these tungsten lures, and I think that's why they have to keep this eye much smaller because
Yes.
the wire has to be thicker. What split ring to use? So Sam brought out some number 8 hyper wires from Owner. I also am a huge fan of Nomad split rings. They don't come in number sizes. They come in the traditional extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large.
Yes.
But what the reason why I'm such a fan of the Nomad split rings is they are flat-sided. So the weight rating is incredibly high for the size of the split ring, but it's not a rounded edge.
Uh-huh.
They're flat. And so they're pressed flat. And so they tend to go through small eyes really, really well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So highly recommended. I've got, mid 100 bluefin and all the big yellowtail that I got that was on a slow pitch were on those Nomad split rings. So
Beautiful. All right.
really
Let's see, Dan Bates. Phil, if you still have footage, we got to see that big yellowfin croaker. Hey, Dan, do a search. Just put Phil Frieman, big yellowfin croaker, St. Patrick's Day. I forget. I don't know if it's on Friedman Adventures or Phil Frieman Outdoors. But in the meantime, when I get home, I'll find it and I'll repost it. But I think you might be able to find it if you do that. I already see Anthony doing that right now. So, or maybe he's not. I thought he was. Anyway, if you do that, Phil Frieman, yellowfin croaker. Glenn Del Mando, can I join you guys on the tour at Seekers? Why not? For sure, Glenn. Gonzalez Fishing. Happy birthday, Chris Rank. Absolutely. Steve Bermudez. When fishing for rockfish in deep water, circle hooks for the squid, J hooks for the fin bait. The secret is to attach a ball-bearing swivel to the hook so when you wind up the fish, it won't unhook. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Steve doesn't usually make any sense, so don't be afraid to say it.
Everybody's got their own way.
Yeah, that's basically saying it doesn't make any sense.
I really do like owner Aki twists
Yeah.
for squid. I really, really like those hooks.
Rock fishing or just squid, period?
If you're using full squid or large pieces of squid, that Aki twist is great because you can thread it on, and then the presentation is really good. So.
Perfect. Chivo Robledo, have a good evening, gentlemen. Looking forward to meeting you, Phil, on the 24th. Hey, 3rd, Chivo. That's going to be fantastic. That's the fish, actually. That's the actual fish.
That's the croaker?
Yeah, that's the yellowfin croaker. That was like 22 inches.
It does look like a drum.
It looks weird, right?
It looks like a yellow redfish.
Yeah. But there's a video out there also, and I'll try to run that down for you, Dan, for sure. So thank you for finding that.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
there's a photo of it on the ruler somewhere too. So
it's a great
we
catch.
weren't faking any. Yeah, that was a fun fish to catch for sure. Especially St. Patrick's Day with a green lure. Come on, man, that made it really cool. Hey Chivo, looking forward to meeting you. Definitely on March 23rd, this Sunday. Happy B-Day, Calico Chris, says Robert Graber. And Chris Navarro says, happy birthday, Iceman, Calico Chris. And Chris says, thank you, Friedman Adventures family. Hey, Chris, you're number one, man. Like I say, I hope we see you on March the 23rd. All right, we got a break. We can call this a night.
Great.
What do you think?
Good
Thanks for
seeing you.
being here.
Yeah, and make sure to drop any topics that you actually want to discuss down in the comments.
We're going to do some stuff. We got to get to, what's your schedule now? You're going back to Tennessee?
Well, I actually got to go to Philly next week.
Okay.
And Boston and New York. So
You give me a heads up when you're
Yeah.
coming back,
Yeah,
and then
for
we'll
sure.
do that for sure.
Yeah.
We want to film some segments
Yeah.
with you. You're great.
Yeah, but any topics, make sure to drop it in the comments. Also, shout out to
Duong
Duong.
Dujong. Yeah.
Duong Duong.
Great guy.
He found me at the PCS show.
Oh, no way.
It was so
he's
cool.
He's one of the nicest gentlemen you'll ever meet.
Yeah, like he recognized me and found me. I was in the secret booth.
Yeah.
Yeah, super nice guy. It was great. It was so cool. It was like
I know,
a
right?
guy that was just in the comments.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden he was there in person, and we had a great chat. And so I had sent him a whole bunch of tips and tricks.
Oh, nice.
For a Cedros trip. So
Yeah.
like, everything I would have wanted to know as a first timer, that nobody told me.
Yeah, right.
And so I basically put together this huge list of Cedros advice. And so it's sent it to him.
He's a super nice man.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about his trip.
Yeah, really,
I think
really.
he's going in June, maybe.
Yes.
So, and I do think that we should probably do a Cedros special, maybe next month as people
We should.
plan to.
I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think it's just devote that to the Cedros experience. That'd be great. Chris Rank, can't wait to see everybody on Phil's birthday on the 23rd. Chris, that makes my night. Steve Bermudez wants to know the story on the FMM permits in Mexico. Steve, as you know, those have always been required, however, not enforced at all. Now they are being strictly enforced. There's 3 federale checkpoints between Tijuana and Ensenada. If you don't have your FMM, it's a tourist card to travel into Mexico. They'll send you back to TJ to get it. You can get them online. You can also get them when you cross the border in Tijuana, but could be some lengthy lines and everything else. And we're working on trying to get somebody from the Mexican consulate to sit down with me and talk that out, as well as discuss exactly how to get them on the website. I think it's all in Spanish, so it's a little difficult to navigate. And I know this kind of thing sometimes has unintended consequences. The Mexican government is doing that, and the unintended consequence could be a lot of gringos are going to say, I'm not going till that gets all ironed out.
Is this a retaliatory thing
It would be a guess on my part.
for tariffs and,
Yeah,
and such?
yeah. But
Politics.
the unintended consequences is going to hurt the mom and pop taco guy in Mexico, because
No dollars.
a lot of tourists are going to say, I'm not going to go. But
Yeah.
it's not that hard to get it, and we'll make that easier for sure. Glenn Delmando, Team Friedman, excellent information as usual. Glenn, you have a great week too. Chris Navarro, great show. Thanks for closing the game, Tyler Tanaka, our Irishman here tonight. See you guys Monday at Tackle Shop Confessions. We're looking forward to that. And Dave Clark says, enforcing the. I know you're going to type something else, Dave, but we may be long gone by the time you do it.
Enforcing
Because
the law.
I'm going to, yes, probably enforcing the law. Does it say it there?
I don't know.
It's got to be what it does. 3. You got till 1. 3, 2, 1. Morning briefing tomorrow morning, everybody. We'll have a lot more content for you tomorrow. Tyler, my friend, happy
to see
St.
you.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Thank
happy
you
St.
for
Patrick's
being
Day.
here. And Sam De La Torre is back there. So there you have it. FMM has been in place for a couple of months. Dave Clark, thanks. Take care, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning briefing.